Well, good morning and welcome to my kitchen. I'm not going to make anything for you to eat, but I want to show an older project, one that I made a few years ago. This is a butcher block table with a solid hardwood top, and I'll show that in a little bit more detail right now. Okay, well here's the top. Like I say, it's solid hardwood. The outside perimeter of the top is white oak, and the inside field is hard maple. The top appears to be 2 inches thick, but that's just the outside. The inside is actually 1 inch thick. I did that to save a little bit of material. It has a built-in drawer for knives. It has a shelf on the bottom to store things on. I made the shelf removable so it can be cleaned easily. The frame is recycled mahogany, and it was in kind of rough shape. So rather than try to fix it, I worked with it and gave the frame of the table a distressed look. I painted it black, beat it up a little bit, knocked the paint off the corners somewhat, gave it a coat of darker stain, and then clear coated the whole thing. It gives it a fairly authentic, worn look. Okay, so that's the table. The reason why I'm showing it is because I want to make a pastry board top that fits on the top of this and is removable. This is an excellent location in the kitchen to do that kind of thing, and the surface is about the right size, so I thought I would make a top that would easily go on, take off, and store. There's not a whole lot to this project. It is basically a piece of plywood. I've got 3/4 inch plywood here, and it's going to have a solid hardwood edge. In this case, I'm going to be using maple. First step is to square up one edge. Now that I have a square corner, I can put the freshly cut edge against the fence and cut it to width. With that edge cut, now I can cut the other edge. That gives me a panel that's the same size as my butcher block top. All I need to do now is cut down this piece of maple to band the top. The banding is going to be 3/4 inch thick and 1 1/4 inches wide. It's going to go around the panel so that it fits down over the butcher block top. That gives me 4 pieces that are a little bit more than 3/4 inch thick. I'll now take them and plane them down to the final thickness. Now that the pieces have all been planed down to the same thickness, I need to cut them down to 1 1/4 inch. Now I'm just going to cut a slight chamfer on the edge, just 10 degrees off, so that as this top of the butcher block expands and contracts with seasonal movement, this top will still fit down on it because that'll give it a little bit of leeway to fit. So I'll tip the blade to 10 degrees and make that cut. Just do a test cut first. What I'm looking for is where this cut stops, for it to be about 3/4 inches from the top. And that's pretty good. All I need to do is lower my blade a little bit. No need of it sticking up that high. The corners of the banding are going to be mitered where they join. So the very first thing I'm going to do is pre-cut the miter on this end on all the pieces. I then need to mark each individual piece for each side. I'm lining it up on the corner where it goes and making a mark over here. I'll then cut that on the miter saw. So I don't get confused, I'll put a witness mark right on the center here. For the first side I'll make 1 stroke, second side I'll make 2 strokes, and so on. And now to cut this sand, I've swung the saw around to the other side of 90, set it to 45, and I'll cut it to that mark. I'll then take it and try it to make sure that it's the right length. Here I've got my panel clamped down and I'm ready to cut the biscuit slots for the first strip. I'm using biscuits for this mainly to align it so that I don't have to use nails or anything like that. These are number 20 biscuits, and I'll put 3 in each edge, 1 on each end and 1 in the middle. So the first thing I do is line it up where it goes, and I use my witness mark as the first layout mark, and on another couple. And I can cut the biscuit slots. Now to cut these slots in the thin strip, I'm going to move the panel back so that I've got a lip to sit that on, and that'll support the strip as I cut the slots. So that's it. These will go in like this. And then I can put the edge on like that. And that'll line it up perfectly. Then it's just to put some glue on there, clamps, and it's ready to go. Okay, well the panel's all glued up. What I did was I put the trim on one side first, glued and clamped that on, waited until the glue set on that, then I did the opposite sides, and left it to dry overnight. Now I'm going to remove the clamps and sand it smooth. Now I got it all sanded. I drove some finish nails in here to hold it up while I finish it. I've got some water-based polyurethane here that I'm going to give it a couple of coats with. I like using this because it doesn't turn the wood yellow too much. So I'm just going to give it a quick coat on both sides and all edges. Then I'm going to let that dry for a few hours, lightly sand it, and give it another coat. I think that 2 coats is going to be enough protection for the wood. Well, here you can see that the finish nails that I drove into the bottom are holding it up off my workbench so I can finish it on all sides. So this is the top complete, ready to put on. I've got 2 coats of finish on here that are completely dry. I gave them a few days to dry. See, the top fits on like that, nice and snug, it doesn't move around. The idea is use it, clean it up, take it off, and store it for the next time. Now that's it. Thanks for watching.